Happy Lunar New Year, world, universe. Steph here with today's edition of Soil and Soul on Sacred Earth Essentials, where I believe the earth is sacred and you are too. So thank you for being here today. Yesterday here in the United States was January 21st. And according to our time zone, not only was there a new moon in Aquarius yesterday afternoon, but yesterday also began the celebration of the Chinese Lunar New Year. And I, for some reason, I don't know why, always get really excited about the Chinese New Year. There's something about it that just, I don't know, resonates with me. It makes me happy. Maybe it's the bright colors, maybe it's the history and the mythology, maybe it's because it honors the moon, maybe because it predates the Roman calendar. It just feels right and I enjoy it and appreciate it, although I probably do not know everything I should know about it, nor do I come that I know of from Chinese lineage. And and I still have a lot to learn about it. But I like to be able to appreciate celebrations in a multicultural and international way, especially when they resonate with me. And we may not all celebrate all the holidays that exist, but I think that if you're going to something with the good intentions, pure intentions in your heart, and to honor it and to give thanks and to have reverence for the practice and the history of it, that it's okay to celebrate things in the ways that feel best to you, as long as one is doing no harm. So happy New Year, happy Lunar New Year to all of you who celebrate the Lunar New Year. And this new year I've been looking forward to. It didn't quite feel like a new year until the Chinese New Year. It's like this weird waiting period where things felt like getting the last mistakes out of us, hopefully for the year, and starting fresh. And this year is the year of the water rabbits, el conejo del agua in Spanish. And so the rabbit is associated with good luck, for example, is probably one of the most popular things that we know of the rabbit symbolism here on Turtle Island in the United States and the West. And I think of some of us may have had a lucky rabbit's foot when we were kids, how strange that seems in a lot of ways now. However, historically speaking, in many cultures, it would be normal to carry on oneself a piece of an animal. I know sometimes I wear my crescent moon necklace, which is made of cow bone, for example. So anyways, without having to carry a lucky rabbit foot around, how can one utilize the energies of this time period astrologically speaking, if one believes in that? And also thinking of the element of water and how in Chinese medicine, for example, we look at those different elements. And so this may be a year for you to examine what the water element means to you in your personal astrology or life. It may also be a good time for us collectively to put effort into the cleansing of the waters of the world and the protecting of them, and making sure that we're getting adequate clean water to people. And that when we're growing plants, we're also not only using clean water to water the plants, but also using natural farming methods versus adding chemicals to the soil that is going to damage the water supply. And so I also think about emotions when I think about water and, staying lubricated and cleansing oneself, if you're sick in any way, they always tell you to drink a lot of water after you exercise. Being dehydrated can also contribute to insomnia, for example, brain fog, all kinds of different things. And so as we're made up of at least 75% water, just like the earth, it's a good reminder this year to make sure to drink healthy, clean water and to drink enough of it, and to learn how to not only be in tune with your emotions and feel your emotions, but also how to navigate emotions in the best, the best of times and the worst of times, and how to allow water, the element of water, to move over you, but also how to become that water yourself. How to become one with the flow. You may say, isn't that what Wu Wei is going with the flow, becoming one, becoming one with the flow. I think Bruce Lee said something like that too. It's something about becoming like the water. And so, New Year blessings to you, Lunar New Year blessings to all of you. And the moon affects the tides and affects the water, and it is said to affect women's cycles. And even if you believe that men are also affected by the energies of the moon, you can learn to follow the moon throughout the year and to journal along with the moon if you're interested in learning moon journaling with me and getting to know how you are personally affected by the moon, and if that astrological language is a language and a practice that helps you to better understand yourself and live in accordance with, your highest potential, your highest possibility in this lifetime, or at least aspiring to it. Always aspiring higher and never declining. And also just with this idea of connecting to a higher power, a source greater than oneself, God, if you will, to help you along that way, and to really feel the presence of that power, whether you believe that is Jesus or Great Spirit, or if you identify with different goddesses. I have one of my goddess cards sitting here, Mary Magdalene. I really enjoy working with the different Marys, and there is all of the different goddesses. And I think it's really important for women especially to connect with female archetypes and female role models. I have Prajna Paramita over here. Let's see if we can see that. There's my picture. Oops. So thank you, Prajna Paramita. My red candle for the New Year's. So I think connecting with that feminine principle, that divine feminine principle, is just as essential as the masculine principle. And I believe that those teachings are coming back into the light more often. Thank you, Prajna Paramita. And thank you to the Karmapa who originally drew that. And just thank you to all of you beings out there who are constantly and consistently blessing me and teaching me on this path so that I can then give to others. And so thinking again about the new year and the rabbit, and how that's also with fertility and intelligence and prosperity and playfulness in a way, and again, that water element, and thinking about the feminine principle, and how in Chinese medicine, the goal is to have a balance, to have harmony, to be able to balance the internal yin and yang energies of one's spirit and physical body. Now, I'm not a trained Chinese medicine practitioner or expert in this area, but I do appreciate Chinese medicine and know a little bit about the principles of Chinese medicine and a few of the plants used in Chinese medicine. So why am I talking about this? Well, I'm tying in this idea of international terroir, saving the soil, making the soil, and the soul, and the plants also that come from these particular regions and bring us their gifts and their wisdom and their healing abilities, right? And these medicines are older than modern medicine. These medicines are literally the roots, right, of modern medicine. And let thy medicine be thy food. And so if we're ingesting these plants, these goddess, earth-made, natural plants that aren't processed, that have minimal side effects comparatively to more benefits than risks. When we look at a lot of the pharmaceuticals, the list of risks is much longer than the list of potential benefits. And it's also creative and fun, which nourishes our spirit and helps preserve our culture and our earth. So this new year, as you're appreciating the rabbit and the good lucky energies that are coming along with this year, ride that wave of that positive energy, ride that wave of that good luck, go down the rabbit hole. Maybe there's a really cool party underneath the surface that you've been missing out on. Maybe that's where the best medicine is at, or the best fun is at. And hopefully, if we're looking at it through the Monty Python lens, hopefully when you get to that rabbit has taken its herbs and is chilled rabbit, and you're ready to have fun, have a little tea party. And so we have to find the humor in things. I'm always trying, surprisingly, to look on the bright side of things and to find the wisdom in the depths, in the dark places, which these roots and these medicines and our plants, none of us, again, would exist without the darkness. Even in the womb, we are in the dark. And so the dark doesn't necessarily mean bad. So going into this new year, honoring the rabbit spirit, honoring the water spirit, honoring the feminine principle within you, and connecting to the earth and to the plants that are going to nourish us and ride along this wave of 2023. So Chinese herbs, in honor of the Chinese Lunar New Year, I wanted to mention a few Chinese herbs and then talk specifically about one that is one of the top 10 well-known, most used herbs in Chinese medicine. It's also used in Western herbalism as well. So some of the Chinese herbs that I know of include Hoshu Wu or Hishu Wu, Foti, Dong Quai, Angelica, Shishandra berry, goji berry, although it's a berry, also I'm going to consider it on the herbal list due to its high amount of medicinal properties and benefits, as well as astragalus. And then today and also ginseng, both Panax ginseng as well as Siberian ginseng, which we are going to talk about today. And I am not well versed in the language of Chinese. However, I love to learn new languages. I love to learn about new cultures. And I was trying to see if I can pronounce this correctly. In Chinese, Eleuthero root is pronounced Qi Wu Jia. I was watching the video, so make sure I smile. Qi Wu Zia. Is that right? No, that's so wrong. Qi Wu Jia. That's as close as I'm gonna get, folks. So thank you for your patience in that. We have to try new things sometimes. So Eleuthero root, Siberian ginseng, or in Latin, it's Eleutherococcus senticosus. All right, and so some people have heard this called poor man's ginseng. Instead of having that really strong, powerful, overtake you feeling that Panax ginseng can have when you take it, I would say Siberian ginseng is kind of like a hardier, endurance styled ginseng. So we were talking about nervines the past few days. how your Eleuthero root may have some nervine properties to it, but that is only because of its roots and being an adaptogenic herb. So that's what it's known for, being an adaptogen, which again, as I referred to before, if we're talking about aphrodisiacs, which ginseng is also well known or considered to be an aphrodisiac, that is because it is nourishing the whole body, because it's an adaptogen. And again, taking care of the foundation of one's health then supports the flow and of all the other areas of your health, all the chakras. And again, I'm not a doctor, so please check with your medical care provider and do your own research. This is a passion of mine as an herbalist and a plant lover and someone who's worked in the medical field from a mental health and educational perspective for the past 13 years. Some of the places where I've seen the mainstream healthcare system have gaps, those gaps are filled by things that we can learn from traditional medicine, like traditional Chinese medicine or other indigenous healing modalities and plant-based healing modalities, as well as, physical activity, which is just as much an important part of our health, our whole body, our holistic health. The Eleuthero root, you can drink it in a tea. I keep looking over here because I've got some of it right here. A whole bunch of herbs in my cabinet to make medicine with. I'm hoping to open up a free clinic here with Sacred Earth Essentials and Vermont Herb Shop. If that's something you're interested in supporting, learning more about, or being a part of, please feel free to message me or call or email me. I always want to be like, come here, smell this, right? Woo! If you can't smell through the phone yet. Speaking of smelling and scent, there is a great workshop being offered this afternoon by a particular high priestess educational institute that is teaching about the Murophodes, I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly, which is an ancient order, an ancient group of women who study Mary Magdalene, these secret ways of Mary Magdalene and other women of that time who were experts in the field of scent and aromatherapy and working with the sacred oils of that time and how to apply oil medicinally. And so again, these ancient stories that we learn about how people used herbs and oils thousands of years ago, although I'm sure she wasn't white, right? Like, she wasn't this color. She was more like the Black Madonna, the Black Mary. But we can all have those qualities within us, and it's not about being these people that we learn from in history. It's about which one of the people that I'm learning from, I consider a teacher. Shi Hing Yi said this in one of his videos the other day, that it's really, we can be listening to and tuning into the message more than the specific person. And that also helps to avoid in idolizing, as well as to get a more of a global perspective on these teachings and to find the common threads amongst the teachings. Okay. Anyways, thanks for listening. So this summer I'll be having some in-person herbal classes if you would like to join me, and then you can actually smell the herbs and the oils and everything that we'll have to offer here for your educational and tasting purposes at Sacred Earth Essentials this summer. And I'm open to doing traveling, speaking, and educating as well. Instead of Tupperware, we'll do little Mountain Rose herb parties, little herbal parties. All right, look. So it's hard to distinguish. I mean, if you don't know plants, if you haven't had the blessing, the opportunity to work with plants yet, all of these roots I'm showing you probably look the same. Like we got Eleuthero right here. It's white, it's a little powdery. You know, there's like not a film, so you can taste it. So bitter. But look, here's the kava kava from the other day. So we got kava kava, just so you can see the difference in color and texture. This is more thinner, almost like wood shavings, wider. This has more of these rhizomes. These roots are more, they have a different shape and color and scent, right? And personality and healing properties. Okay. Eleuthero root. So it's an adaptogen. An adaptogen is defined as a substance that acts to enhance the body's non-specific resistance to internal and external stressors. So it helps to nourish and support the immune system and to just help overall functioning of the body. When things have been stressed and overworked, it's coming in to nourish that and improve the functioning of that particular system, especially with the adrenals and helping with adrenal fatigue, for example. So also a popular herb to use in recovery from trauma of any kind. It could even be from like surgery trauma. This is a popular herb that is used for people in recovering from chemotherapy and radiation. So again, there's so many people in this world currently that are struggling or healing from cancer, and yet I think there should be a clinical herbalist in every doctor's office. There should be one at St. Jude's, because there are a lot of herbs and plants that are very beneficial to preventing and healing cancer, as well as in helping with the side effects after radiation and chemo treatment. And how amazing, how cool would it be if you could give a kid a lollipop that at St. Jude's, or chocolate that also was medicinal, that was really going to help them with what they were struggling with. Not necessarily to replace the allopathic medicine, but to just give them the best possible care. Like, it's as if there's this whole other world of health and healing that exists, that if we just honored the earth and appreciated these plants like you would appreciate your best friends or your lover or your spouse or your children as living beings, aho matakuyasen to all our relations, that we come from these beautiful plants first, our ancestors. But again, it's like having, maybe not the cure, I'm not saying necessarily, but at least remedies for cancer and other ailments, and then not sharing it. So it's my job and my mission and my joy to share herbalism with you, because it's been a gift to me, like a greater gift. You know, I've always played with plants as a kid and read books about nature and plant books, but I didn't have the honor of having a direct family member alive to teach me herbalism. I did learn about using oatmeal or garlic and honey and chamomile, but mostly other than that, I didn't learn any herbs until I was about 21 years old. I began studying herbalism before moving to Vermont, or herbalism, depending on where you're from, pronunciation, right? So the constituents, the properties that make this Siberian ginseng Eleuthero root work are eleutherosides, A through E, glycosides, sterols, lignins, phenolics, and polysaccharides, if you're interested in those facts. And it can be used as a general tonic for a wide range of conditions and symptoms. And again, check with your primary care physician, because it can interact with some cardiac medications. And as with anything, whether it's Eleuthero root or cannabis, or any other type of medication, if you're prescribed it, like a psychopharmaceutical or a muscle relaxant or a pain reliever, you want to start with the lowest possible dose. see how you feel, and then if you're interested in exploring this on your own, then you get to create your own recipes and have fun with your own health and really feel the difference. And if it's not something you're passionate about, then you can find other people who are, which there are plenty of us herbalists in the world, who can guide you in a good direction for you. So again, it helps stimulate the immune response. So my guess is I'm going to drink more of this because it will help with recovering from the long-term effects of COVID, for example, as well as the long-term effects of chronic stress and complex trauma. And probably should have been drinking it for my concussion, for Lyme disease. Like, there was another thing I was thinking, even from the vaccine, helping. For me personally, I think doing a cleanse would be beneficial. And I know that this is something that I can do with herbs. So it also works as an anti-hepatotoxic, which is what I was just talking about, wanting to clean the blood, for example. It can enhance both physical and mental performance, as well as helping to increase resistance to oxygen depletion in the heart. And especially useful for conditions that are influenced by the immune system. So for example, one that comes to mind for me personally is vitiligo. And I have had alopecia in the past where my immune system attacks my body. And there are other different conditions that also the immune system triggers. And so because it supports the immune system, Eleuthero root can help reduce the amount of occurrences that one has an episode of some of those things that are triggered by attacks or perceived attacks in the immune system. So again, like I said, it helps with supporting trauma, acute or chronic diseases after surgery and stressful events, as well as I said before, counteracting the debilitating effects of chemotherapy and radiation. And again, like I said, it can be used long-term for the overall support of well-being. I think for me personally, some herbs you might take at higher doses for shorter amount of times in different forms, some more as like a tonic herb. Like this might be something that you could have a cup of tea of, or some tincture, or even in an elixir. And if you had powdered Eleuthero root, you could throw it in some Zoom balls and get playful with the plants as well. So, as usual, check with your primary care physician first. We have Eleutherococcus senticosus Chiwujia. Hopefully I said that right. If anyone wants to correct me, please do so. And happy Lunar Chinese New Year. I hope you enjoyed today's check-in, today's show. And if you're interested in purchasing some of this through my affiliate link, you can find more information below. And as I make a special concoction with this, I have some people in mind, including myself, who will benefit from this plant. I will post the finished product as soon as it is ready for sale. All right, folks, thanks so much. I hope you had a beautiful day. Wishing you the best, brightest, most good, luckiest, prosperous, abundant, rich, and beautiful, blessed New Year. Mwah. The earth is sacred, and you are too. Bye.